What if I would have
Hey
said
guys, I'm just
What if I
watching
would have
Brene
come
Brown
off
and I
as
wanted to get on here and let me show you what
Hey
she's
Sadie,
saying. Yeah.
answer the call to courage and come off the blocks. Because you're worth it. You're worth being brave. Thank y'all.
It's really good. Okay, so and it got me really inspired. I guess what I haven't realized is that I think I'm a really vulnerable person. And I mean, it definitely, let me get back over here, has hurt me, but it's hurt me in a good way. I mean, even though hurting isn't good, but it hasn't hurt me in the sense that I've hurt others. People have hurt me because of their own insecurities. And I wanted to share all my examples throughout life of me being vulnerable, me opening up about my needs, having unmet needs, and what happens. And I even Dr. Hawkins has told me something the other day that was or a few weeks ago that really stuck with me. And he said, Heather, do you realize that those people that didn't want to help you and that attacked you, those were their issues, not yours? And that has really stuck with my head. And I just now had another incident where someone belittled and degraded me instead of saying, I'm sorry, Heather, I can't help you. But anyways, that was Brene Brown that I was watching. I want you guys to, I really highly recommend that too. It's on Netflix. It's called The Call to Courage. It's about vulnerability. I mean, I get it. Look at my YouTube. Just read my comments. Oh my goodness. Gotta be pretty vulnerable to even do YouTube videos. Okay. But anyways, vulnerability and confidence. What is it? And I think this is really huge to learn this because of, especially if you're married to a narcissist, because they use your vulnerabilities against you, right? And they use your weaknesses and you have to own them. I've owned my weaknesses like many years ago, and it has actually made me a stronger person. So, okay, let's see. Where do I want to start? First, what is vulnerability? Vulnerability is just the willingness to admit that you have needs. That's it. That's vulnerability. Vulnerability is saying, I have a need for love. I have a need for connection. I have a need for companionship. I have a need for trust. I have a need for affection. Just Google if you guys want to. Like, I was never aware of my needs. Like, this is totally new to me. I know I made other videos on it, but I just wanted to reiterate this because it goes along with where I'm going to go this time, which is different than before. But just Google list needs, and I've literally have printed it out, and sometimes I stare at it. When I get sad, when I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Heather, what's going on inside of myself, when I'm fighting with my husband, I get out my needs and I say, I have a need. I have a need for something. One of my needs is not being met. Okay, so that's being vulnerable. Vulnerable is admitting that we have needs. Confidence is admitting that we are worthy of having people in our life that want to meet those needs. That is confidence. Now, this is where I talk about stay in your lane, don't get into other people's lane. Codependency is when you try to make someone else meet your needs. And that's when you got to get back into your lane, okay? So confidence is saying, I'm worthy of having people in my life that want to meet my needs. But this is where where you stop and the other people come into play is you say, I have a need for love. Would you like to show me love right now? And if they say no, that's when you walk away. You do not belittle, you do not argue, you do not go down their rabbit holes, you do not do anything. That's when you say, okay, I am worthy of love. You are not going to meet my need for love right now. I'm going to surround myself with people who will meet my needs. Done. That's emotional intelligence. That's emotional maturity. And now I want to give you guys some examples of stuff that just like, especially after watching Brene Brown and Dr. Hawkins and everything, it's just like, wow. And a real life example that just happened just this week, last night. So I Facebook messaged one of Mike's friends and I was like, hey, Mike's out of control. He acts differently behind closed doors than he does in front of people. I'm just looking for a few good men to hold him accountable. Like, look at the stuff he's sending me. And this guy came back with, you are coming off as a mentally ill wife and you need to control yourself. Right? Like, ouch. Ouch. But luckily, this is, and honestly, sometimes this is what's good about being married to a narcissist, is like, you've heard the worst of the worst. The man who is supposed to love you has tried to destroy you, right? And so you have had to build yourself up with someone else and not based on men and their opinions, right? And so for me, I chose God. Like, God is what I chose to build myself up. So even though it still hurts, like when I read that, I was just like, ouch, like I cried. I'm gonna admit to you guys, I cried. Like, I was like, but then God showed me that, and Dr. Hawkins' voice came into my head and it said, Heather, can you not see that that's that person's issue and not yours? And I was like, you're right. Okay, I'm not a mentally ill person. I have a need for help. I have a need for support. Like, we're not meant to do this life alone, you guys. Like, and so for that guy to want me to do this life alone, like, that's his issue, right? He did, okay? And so let's see what is really happening. And this is, man, narcs do this all the time, right? This is a narc. Like, this guy this was a narc response. He doesn't want to help me, right? But instead of saying, I'm sorry, Heather, I don't want to help you meet your needs, he had to belittle and degrade me. It's your fault. I don't want to help you meet your needs, Heather. It has nothing to do with me. I'm totally fine that I don't want to help you meet your needs. You're crazy. You're crazy, and that's why I'm not going to help you meet your needs. Do you guys see that? And that's what a narc does too, right? You say, hey babe, I'm not feeling loved right now, or, I have a need for respect, and I don't feel like the way you're talking to me, the tone in your voice is really disrespectful, and I have a need for respect. And they will instantly, instead of admitting that they're doing something wrong, or instead of admitting that they don't want to meet your need for respect, instantly they will turn it on you, right? Like, no, you are acting X, Y, and Z, which is why I'm disrespecting you. It's your fault that I don't want to meet your needs. And they will belittle you and they will degrade you, right? Do you guys see this? This is huge. This is I really want you guys to understand this concept, because this will change everything. One, you will not go, I call it rabbit holes, when you feel the need to defend yourself. Do not go down rabbit holes with these people. Do not, okay? Never, ever, ever defend yourself. Stop defending yourself. It does not work. Narcs don't care, right? And we can't make them care. That's codependency, is when you want to make someone care about you, okay? That's where I've seen, that's my codependency. I want Mike to love me. I want to make him care about me. I want to make him love me. I want to make him care when I'm crying, right? But I can't. And that's where I always jump out of my lane, and I got to yell at myself. I'm like, Heather, get back in your lane. Get back in your lane. You can't make that dude care about you. Get back in your lane, okay? That's codependency. I'm sorry, I just went off on a tangent there. Now I forgot where I was before rabbit holes. Before the rabbit holes, what were we talking about? Gosh, I totally forgot my train of thought. But yes, okay? So let's stick to our needs, okay? Stick to our needs. We are worthy of having our needs met. Become very aware of what you're fighting for, i.e., which need are you fighting for? Be very, stay in your core, be very calm, caring, curious, concerned. Be like, we're in this together, and I have a need for respect, or I have a need for trust, or I have a need for love, and I just want to see if you could help me fill that need, right? But the second they attack you, they belittle you, they degrade you, they tell you, no, I'm not going to meet your needs because of X, Y, and Z. Done. Do not go down the rabbit hole. Do not defend yourself. This man who sent me that and said, you're coming off as a very mentally ill wife. You think I responded to him? No, I did not respond to him at all. I I do not defend myself anymore. I know who I am. I know what I'm fighting for. I know the kind of woman I am. I do not need to defend myself anymore to anyone. Obviously, he doesn't care about me. Maybe it'd be different if I knew he really loved me or cared about me, but I mean, with a response like that, he obviously doesn't care. And it sounds like he might have his own fears with mental illness. The way he said that, he might be really afraid of what other people think of people with mental illness. I don't know. He had a lot of issues is what I got out of all that. But I didn't defend myself. I'm just like, okay, he doesn't want to help me. And it's okay, right? It's okay. It's okay. That's his issue, not mine. Okay? But there is nothing wrong with you for asking for help. These men need to be held accountable. And I highly encourage you to get people in your life that are willing to hold them accountable. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be super hard to do it because people want to turn their backs, okay? And they don't want to see it. And also, though, we also have to know when we have to stay out of our lane. And if they don't want to change, if they don't want to be held accountable, we've got to move on. We can't. Then it's like, then I can't do life with you living a double life behind closed doors, right? Like, but no more fighting. We're not fighting anymore. We're not going to go down rabbit holes with them. We're going to stick to our needs. We're going to stick to asking them if they want to help us. And that's it. Yeah, I just want to jump on here. That Brene Brown's all about that vulnerability. I mean, she doesn't really talk about needs, but I think that's what she means, basically, when she's talking about it. Yeah, I didn't really realize how scared we are to ask people to meet our needs. That's an interesting concept to me. Emotional intelligence, it's huge. Such a huge thing, so important in this world. And I think like these men, they have a lot of shame and they have a lot of guilt. They grew up with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. And so the only way that if you want to help these men is by overcoming this stuff yourself and just being a light to them, and that hopefully they will get on board with it. And that you could help heal them just by focusing on you. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about too, is like, I feel like a lot of people, some of the comments are like, they're incapable of love or blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I know that like I talk about being married to a narcissist, but I hope that you can see that my shift changes, my focus changes from them to me. Put my blinders on and what do I need to do knowing this information, correct? You know what I mean? And so I try really hard to focus on myself. Okay, then how do I react? How do I respond? How do I stay in my core, And I really want to encourage that as well. Like, once you know, it's good to know what you're dealing with, what we're in, but you really got to then you got to put the focus back on yourself. Okay, so I just want to encourage everyone, put the focus back on yourself, focus on your needs, ask people for help, and do not get discouraged. Oh my goodness, so many years of people attacking me and all. And I thought, and I'm the type, I always want to look at myself and what's wrong with me and what did I do? How do I need to act differently, and take responsibility for it. But I've learned through the years that it wasn't me. There was nothing wrong with me for being vulnerable and asking for help. There was nothing wrong with that. It's just that a lot of people, when they see vulnerability, when they see you vulnerable, it makes them uncomfortable because they haven't dealt with their own vulnerabilities. Just remember that, okay? It's okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerable means you're strong. Vulnerable is strong. That's what Brene Brown really touched on, is to be strong is to be vulnerable. So continue to be vulnerable. Bye.